You've painted up your lips and rolled and curled your tinted hair.
Right, okay, first of all, just tell me, at the back, can you hear me? Yes!
Yes!
At the other end, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. It's the first time I've ever played the guitar in a fish and chip restaurant, but it's the first time for everything, excuse me. Wait a minute, tell him a joke, Pete, while I do the guitar.
I don't know any, I've used them all out.
Okay, well, I'm Richard, one of Peter's old friends of 22 years, and I had quite an interesting introduction because I had to sell to Peter cold. I was working in a job where I had to sell print, letter headings and stuff like that in large quantities, and I picked on solicitors and estate agents as being good clients for this type of product. So eventually I came across Frost, Madams and Wade in Chelmsford, and when I phoned up the company, they said the question usually was, who's the person responsible who would purchase print for your company? And it was normally a sort of a thought-provoking question, enough for people to say, well, that must be somebody, rather than say, oh, we don't buy that. So it worked, and they put me through to Peter. And I think Peter was prepared to shoot me down as quickly as possible. But we had quite a good rapport, and I remember being quite impressed with this chap, and I thought, well, I must meet him. So I talked myself into an interview with him and showed him all the samples, and we established that we could supply what he wanted. And miracle of miracles, I got an order out of him, and it sort of went from there, really. And as Pete said earlier, if you remember, we stayed friends for a bit, but then as time goes by, we lost touch for a bit. And around 2000, coinciding with one or two other personal things of mine, I decided to get in touch again. And I tracked him down. I phoned the Law Society, and I said, I'm one of your chaps, Peter Wade. I'm trying to track him down. Whereabouts will I find him? And of course, all lawyers are on the register. And Peter was there, and they said Wayman and Long in Clare. And I thought, well, that's unusual, because the last time I spoke to him was in Chelmsford. So obviously things had changed. So phoned Peter up out of the blue, and we really just sort of hit it off straight away again. And he announced to me at the time that he was starting a networking group, which was under the auspices of the Clare Lunch Club, which was held in a local hotel, and various business people, associates, contacts, basically potential customers for Peter, were invited along to sort of talk about various elements of business and enjoy a lunch, which we did 2 or 3 times. And anyway, going on from that, we've found other mutual interests over the years. I suppose really the main one that we've hit it off with is marketing and sales, because I come from a sales background. Technical selling, and Peter, I think, really was always looking for ways of promoting his type of business, which, if you think about it, is not too easy for a lawyer to sort of make headway out here in the provinces.
Because we're shy and retiring, that's the trouble.
Well, you are, certainly. But we recommended each other various books and management, self-improvement books and things, and exchanged notes. And then with the advent of the internet, it was much easier because we could send emails with links and little snippets of information. And anyway, the other day I was looking on YouTube, and Peter had sent me a link from last week where he mentioned earlier that his granddaughter was doing a little dance, which was very enchanting. But there was some music that accompanied this, and it turns out it's Pete. Now, what he didn't tell you in his rather interesting speech earlier was he's actually a frustrated musician. Peter was telling me he went to a class to learn drumming. That's right. That's interesting. Yeah, and he's also now got a harmonica, which he's deliberately not brought tonight, but
I've got it.
he has brought it tonight. There's a couple of things I want to do just to sort of just do something a bit different. The first thing is, if we're all in good voice at the end of the hall. Yes, can you hear me? I'm really shouting here. I'm talking in a microphone, but there's no amplifiers for the camera. And you're okay at the back. You can hear me. Okay. So here we go. With the intro, ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And again. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Peter. Happy birthday to you. Right. Right. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, shout out as soon as you know it. No? I'll keep going. Anybody got it yet?
She loves you.
You sing it.
She loves you, yeah.
Chorus, chorus,
yeah,
chorus.
She loves you, yeah, yeah. That's it, that'll do. That's enough of that.
Right, okay, thank you. That
was
one
tough.
right. Who was that one? Well done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Got me there.
Right then, next one. Easier.
Can we have an easy one?
Yeah, this is more your era.
Well, She Loves You was my year. What do you mean?
Pretty Woman.
Pretty Woman. Yeah, well, she's good at this, yeah.
Sing it.
I can't sing Pretty Woman.
Anybody sing it?
Who can sing it?
Walking down the street, pretty woman. Kinda like to be pretty woman.
Right, there
Yes,
you go.
thank you. That was good.
One later on. Peter's going to come round to my house and we're going to record a little video on YouTube. Now, Pete's going to sing and he's going to play the harmonica. And I think we've got everybody's email addresses so we can send them the link. So eventually when it's done, it'll be for all to see. So anyway, well done. Happy birthday, Pete.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Right. Now I'm going to introduce the main act for tonight. He's Pete Jones, shy and retiring, much like me. And he gave a speech a couple of weeks ago, which went down very well. So I said, didn't have to make the same one. And he's on. See ya.
Good evening. Just before I start, I've read somewhere that a gentleman was a person who could play the harmonica but chose not to. Right, my name's Peter. I met Peter through the Army Cadet Force and I've only known him for about 20 years and he asked me if I'd say a few words and I think he's expecting some sort of complimentary, what a nice bloke he is. Well, if that's what you want, you've come to the right place, but on the wrong night. Right, I've been looking up Pete, been working out a few things about his life that you might not know. And I've found out, for instance, that he was born at an early age in Straddleshall, and he was very pleased to be born in Straddleshall because his mother was there at the time. When he was a little boy, he was always getting into mischief like a typical 5-year-old, and even in those days he developed a keen interest in the law, making sure that he wasn't around when they turned up to investigate his latest prank. At the age of 10 he went to a good school, it was approved, and he was described as a quiet, shy, timid boy. Well, I didn't believe that either. But he was a bright pupil and he did show talent and aptitude which would ultimately lead him to a career in the law. And when he was 12 he went in for a competition, a general knowledge competition, and as you'd expect he did very, very well. And he was in the final and he was going head to head with another boy called Giles, who was a farmer's son, and right to the very last question it was sudden death. Whoever got the question right would win the competition, and the question was, how do you spell auspices? And the farmer's son got it wrong and Peter got it right. Well, think about that one. before he did a proper job, he joined the merchant, or tried to join the Merchant Navy, but because he was always playing practical jokes, they put him in the wind-up Merchant Navy. And then in 1970, when he went for his first job interview, now we all know he's got a lot of confidence, what you and I would regard as front, and never frightening coming forward. Now, in 1970, the average wage was about 5,000 a year, and in those days, a gallon of petrol, 5 litres of petrol, was 32 pence, if you can believe that. And at the end of the interview, the boss said to Peter, "Well, what sort of salary are you looking for?" And Peter, confident as ever, said, "Oh, 10,000 a year, depending on the benefits package." And the boss said, "Well, we could give you your own office, your own secretary, 6 weeks paid holiday, the medical and dental plan, new car every year." And Peter said, "Wow, are you kidding?" And the boss said, "Yes, certainly, but you started it." 20 years ago, we met in the Army Cadet Force. On the military spectrum, we were right at one end with Sergeant Wilson of Dad's Army. That was our style. We had a great time there. We weren't terribly good soldiers, but we did have a good time. The company sergeant major said to us on one occasion, "The difference between you two and toast is we can make soldiers out of toast, sir." And as Peter said, it was quite amusing that the cadets used to get us mixed up. But I didn't see what the problem was, because one of us was upright, decent and honest, and the other was a solicitor. There's one of our Army Cadet friends, a very good friend. He's actually in Gibraltar at the moment on a cadet expedition, and he sent a message to Peter. "Whether he's here, wish you were nice." But Pete, he also did say, "Sorry you couldn't be here tonight," and wished you all the very best and congratulations. Oh, where are we up to? Yeah, I think Peter quite enjoys being 60, because I overheard him a little while ago talking to one of the waitresses, and he said, "This is all my own hair, and I work out, I'm really fit. Do you think I look 60? And this girl said, "No, but I'm sure you did when you were." Also, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Reg, because this event was supposed to be held in the banqueting suite at the County Hotel in Chelmsford, but when he tried to order it on the phone and said what his name was, they said it was double booked, so he ended up here. Thank you, Reg. And take the opportunity to toast his health. If you'd like to raise a glass, and if you can't be bothered, just raise an eyebrow. To Peter, happy birthday. Peter. Oh, and one final thing, Peter. Now, as long as I can remember, I've always been interested in railways, which is something that Pete derives a great deal of amusement from. So, thought just to introduce him to a vast and interesting subject at probably the level that he'd be able to cope with, I'd like to present you with this. I can't open it.
Aha. Thomas and Friends, Henry and the Flagpole.
Thank you for listening.